Not all readings are intended for every member of the collective, but today we have a reading concerning opportunities offered during periods of confusion, high emotions, disillusionment. The warning in this card is that you must be able to see through the darkness, through the shadows, through the illusions that your peers create in order to decipher what is meant for you and what isn't meant for you. That was freaky. What was that just dropped? I swear I just thought I saw someone standing behind me. That was really weird. Anyhow, that's the spirits telling me to move on with this. Some of you are going to get a very good opportunity in love. This is about commitment and offerings. This is like the golden egg that some of you have been waiting for, but you are surrounded by people who have their own self-interests. Their emotions are high. They're sometimes disillusioned and they're confused. And I'm saying this because this entire reading is associated with the moon card. There's all this opportunity. Even in the Lake of Maidens here, you see fish that represents fertility and life and multiplicity. But this Lake of Maidens card is surrounded by a lot of tragedy. We have all of these storylines here. One of them about the young men who lived in a certain town. I think the town was named Ardud Ui, and they had no women there, and they really just wanted love. So here we are again with this idea of, wanting this Ace of Pentacles, wanting something, this golden orb, and they did. So they made the mistake of going into a town called Clwyd, and they stole all the women there while the men were away, and they hid in the mountains with them, and the women fell in love with these guys. But the men from their town tracked these guys down and slaughtered them in front of these women, and as a result they became so destitute and upset that they threw themselves and flung themselves into the Lake of Maidens. There was a huge tragedy and great loss, but they found love in the most oddest place, and the men led themselves to death based on trying to pursue a situation that wasn't good for them. And there's another story about Gwydion and Llŷ Llŷ and his wife Blodeuwedd, and Blodeuwedd tried to kill Llŷ Llŷ because she wanted another lover, and she almost did, but Gwydion saved his nephew Llŷ Llŷ, and they pursued her, and all her maidens died in the Lake of Maidens. What's the Lake of Maidens called in Welsh? Llyn Amwynion. This is all according to Mabinogion text. So, they cursed her to a life living as an owl where she could only show her face at night. But what does this have to do with you and wealth? Well, if you're tuning in from my second video, this has a lot to do with it. Basically, there is an opportunity coming. And the moon card, and we see this opportunity here with the Ace of Pentacles, but the moon card can represent all kinds of misconceived notions about what is true and what is not, accompanied by powerful emotions and empathy and sensitivity and illusion and visions. So you have all these people that might be around you at this time, and the environment that you're in may even represent the underworld. So you could be involved in a lifestyle that is usually hidden from the daywalkers, people who have their regular 9 to 5. You could work in bars, you could work amongst people that aren't usually accepted by those who are conformists. And in order to achieve goals and achieve prosperity, what you might be doing is traveling amongst those who have to do undesirable things, unconventional things. You could literally work under the water. You could be a pipe fitter. You could work on the water. You could work at night. You could work in an industry that may not be as acceptable. Or you could just be surrounded by people who, by the very nature of the industry they're in, cannot always tell you the truth. But as a result of their accompaniments, sometimes their emotions get the better of them. Either way, this is all about needing reasonability, guarding against deception, not being controlled over fears and fantasy in order to see what's really going on in front of you. Sometimes your environment might look kind of confusing because it looks different based on even the time of day in which you are working or who you're accompanied by. But there is opportunity surrounding you in the most unexpected of places, and you have to keep your wits about you in order to obtain that opportunity. And how do we do this? When there is danger lurking, when there is danger lurking with good intentions. Lodeweth, she was created for the sole purpose of loving what was his name? Hli Uhra Gaves. She was created just for the purpose of being his wife. So she felt the need to have authentic love, and she found it. So with the best of intentions, she made the most dastardly of choices. She attempted to murder her husband. So you can see how the young men of Ardudwy, I think it was, just deserved to find love, and they did, but it was done the wrong way. So many of you are going to get opportunities, but the path to those riches may seem highly inappropriate. So you must be very cautious of illusions, disillusionment, and also fear. And then we have this beautiful gorse shrub, which is surrounded in thorns, but it blooms and blossoms this golden flower all year round. And this is a very protective shrub. It is also utilized in a few rituals. The day before spring equinox, which is May 20th, I believe, some people celebrate a gorse day, which brings the infusion of sun and light and fertility into the spring equinox in order to get rid of the remnants of the cold season. It's also used during Beltane, burned in the fires on May Day to bring purification and protection to livestock. And the gorse is also associated with Lugh, who is a Irish deity who was a warrior king that led the spiritual or godly class named what was their name? How could I forget this? The Tuath de Dunan, I believe. And I might be wrong, so please correct me if I am in fact wrong. I should have it written down here. Tuatha de Danann, spiritual beings. He leads them into victory and battle. And he is associated with this shrub, bringing light and justice and harvest. He is a guardian of sovereignty, oaths, truth, and law. He is a sorcerer, a poet, and he's a smithsman. He is a great craftsman and brings many skills to the table. And he is also associated with Hli Uhla Gaves, the individual that we just talked about in the moon card. He is the Welsh counterpart to Hli Uhla Gaves. So it's very interesting that we would pick a deity that also has a relation to another card that we have in our reading today from an entirely different deck. But regardless, we have this gorse shrub, and this gorse shrub is all about protection, long-term planning, fertility, boundaries, resilience, efforts rewarded. It too is used to bring about boundaries, establishing boundaries, protecting travelers from getting lost, abundance, gratitude, appreciation, sharing, having hope, and collecting the things necessary to move forward. So, we have different themes here in Celtic, Irish, and Welsh mythology. And when you tie this whole reading together, here's the letter for the gorse. Own or O, symbolizing victory and perseverance, and also casting away bad spirits. We have this whole concept of being surrounded possibly by unsavory elements and yet seeking the opportunity associated with that. And the Ace of Pentacles is also all about long-term planning, of which the gorse shrub is as well. So one of the meanings of this reading is that regardless of heightened emotions, disillusionment, deceit, you must see the way forward and protect yourself against the negative the negativity of those around you who will do whatever it takes, regardless of who it hurts, to get what they want. And that's the kind of environment you're in. But it's up to you to see the path forward, because there is much resources around you in order to bring about prosperity.